we are. Let me make sure we are up and going on this end. It always takes a minute to transfer over to everything. Yes, we are good. Okay, we are live. This is Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, and I have here someone who I have been following probably for the last at least 6 months plus and just admiring her work. I want to welcome to the show Gretchen Smith of Code of Vets. Gretchen, thank you for being on the show tonight. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having the time for Code of Vets and sharing our mission. It's a pleasure to be here.
I appreciate you being here. You are so busy on Twitter and social media raising vets who should have never been in this situation to begin with, but raising them up. When I reached out to you, I'm like, she's really busy, so I hope that I get an answer back. But when you did, I was so excited because we need to teach and educate all Americans what's actually going on behind the scenes. And some of them who follow me, I drop pieces here and there of what's happening, and I do it from a natural healthcare standpoint, like the psychiatric drugs and the medications, etc. But I really want to go now because we are in a crisis, and a lot of people don't realize, obviously, average everyday Americans are being out of work right now, but veterans have it so much worse. And I want to get some information from you. But first of all, let everyone know your background. Thank you for your service, by the way, but let us know why you're doing this and where you come from.
Well, I'm an Air Force veteran. I served right out of high school. I jumped right in. I wanted to serve my country. My dad had served, and my entire family basically was military, so it just made sense for me at that point. I met my husband. We raised a family. We served basically 5 years in the Air Force. We both went back. We went to college, used our GI Bill. We both ended up with 4 degrees each. We're very pro education. Wow. And I chose to stay at home. It just was the right path for myself and our family at the time. And, my dad really struggled throughout his life, and I kept a distance. I stayed in touch with him, but I had to keep that distance from him because he was so chaotic. And the reason why is he was a combat vet back in the Vietnam War. And when he came home, he was never quite the same. He just lived a very troubled life. I never quite understood my dad. And he ended up losing his battle with PTSD. And one of our final conversations, it was about 5 years before he died, we had a really in-depth adult conversation about what was going on in his life. And I just broke down and, I said, Dad, what are you doing? I need you. My kids, you need you. You have grandkids. And, he looked at me, Jason, and he just said, Gretchen, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm tired. I can't fight them anymore. They've beat me. And he was talking about his demons of war. And, shortly after, we had that conversation, or roughly 5 years, he passed away. And so I carried that conversation in my heart. I tucked it away because I had my kids I needed to focus on. But now that they're grown, I wanted to do something to honor my dad's life, to honor his service, because he mattered. His life mattered. And I didn't want him to be forgotten. So I created a Twitter page, and I called it Code of Vets. And I although I am a veteran, I did it to kind of chronicle my journey as his daughter and share his story. And it exploded from day one. It really resonated with the veteran community. Veterans were coming my way, sharing their journeys. And it naturally evolved into a nonprofit, which it is today. So that was 3 years ago. And we're a nonprofit 501c3 helping vets in crisis all over the country. We help veterans in every single state of our nation. We've grown that big.
Wow, yeah. When you say you're active on Twitter, I think that's an understatement. This woman. When I started following her, and just because I was obviously interested and I knew from a healthcare standpoint what was going on with veterans, I started following her, and you're unrelenting. I mean, it's every single day on Twitter, and the followers that you have at this point, like, you are waking up an entire nation. What does that feel like?
It's amazing. It's overwhelming because here I am a nobody here in Middle Tennessee, and I set out on this venture just to honor my dad. I had no idea it was going to turn into something as beautiful as it has. I'm so proud of it. It's just grown tremendously. I chase Code of Vets around trying to keep up with it because I feel like it has a life of its own, and it's a platform for veterans. Nobody earns a paycheck here at Code of Vets. I have a full team. And we are all volunteers, and we do this every day because we have a passion for it, and we feel like we're called to do this. And the veterans see that, and they I feel like they get that genuine spirit from us, and we just want to help our own. I just want to take care of my brothers and sisters in arms, and it's resonating, and we're using social media for something powerful, for something good, and it's working. We've become very efficient as a team behind the scenes when we get these veterans coming through codevets.com. We have them fill out vet need forms, and we vet them and we vet their situation. And once we determine they are honorably discharged veterans, then I can roll with it on my end of it, which is raising funds. And I actually enjoy doing this. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
You are so on purpose. It's unbelievable. I love that. We're gonna dive in a minute with what obviously the vets are dealing with, because we want to update everybody and we want to have a call to action, and we're gonna go through some things like that. But I want to point out two very specific things that I find one very unfortunate, and then I find one very unbelievable with what you're doing. First of all, I looked at the number you have raised, and it's probably over this number now, but you had $791,366, which is probably getting close to $800,000 and going towards $1 million really fast. You have raised that so far with Code of Vets, but you've done something that seems like no other charity knows how to do. You only have 1% administrative costs, meaning all of that money is actually going to the veterans. How did you do that?
Is that not amazing? Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of that. I just want to shout that from the rooftops, because that's huge, it's simple. We literally run lean. My partner and I, her name's Dr. Cindy Walser. She has her PhD in public health, and she's beautiful. We both are very frugal with the funds. And we had to hire a CPA firm because we're getting to the numbers where we need that, transparency. We need to keep it professional. So we do have some operational costs, but again, it's right at the 1% mark. So everything we do is from our homes. We do not have brick and mortar. We don't have overhead as far as paychecks. So we're able to, everything we bring in pretty much almost goes back to the veterans. We raise that, or I'm the only one that raised funds, so I'll raise the funds, and then I will turn around as soon as I get it. We do not sit on that money, Jason. I will take the funds that I raise, and then I immediately transfer it. We use PayPal, and I'll send it to the vet in need that's sitting there waiting on it. And we literally can raise about $2,000 or $3,000, in a matter of 2 or 3 hours, because I have built trust with my donors. I have built trust with my followers, and they know that we're doing the right thing.
That's there are so many. You could have a business all on the side just consulting other charities on how to actually do that properly, because none of them are doing that.
I know, trust me, it makes me mad, because I know it's possible, and I have a feeling we've probably already, we've moved beyond the $1 million mark. Because last year alone it was 791, so we're into April. And this month, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. This month, oh my gosh, it's historic. This has been one of our biggest months since we've been in operation, because people understand the need, and I've been putting it out there. We're covered up. I've never seen anything like this before. So people are giving from their hearts. And we've also partnered with Charlie Daniels and his vet organization called the Journey Home Project. He and his partner have been monitoring Code of Vets on Twitter, and they've been seeing the veterans roll through, and they know that we're just inundated. And we can't do this by ourselves. We have to have help. So they have seen that, and they've partnered with us, and they put out a press release, actually. It's an official partnership, and they've been helping raise funds too. So that's another influx of funds for us. But again, as quickly as those funds are coming in, we're covered up in vets, which I'm sure we'll get to, and we're
Absolutely.
just pushing the funds right back out.
Yeah, and I want to highlight something, because I want to get your opinion on this. I think a lot of people know what's going on before we dive into the vets, because I want to tell some of their stories. But why? I have my feeling I know why, but why are these veterans not being taken care of? What happened? I mean, obviously we're talking about some governmental stuff, but I know you put up there the VA. I mean, why are these vets left out to dry? What is your opinion on that, honestly?
I've never been a veteran advocate or any kind of activist, so we've been doing this for almost 3 years now, and what I'm finding and learning along the way, and I've learned so much from my partner. She's my mentor. She is a professional advocate and has been for many years. But anyway, what we're finding is that there's so many veterans that are pushed through, that are farmed through the VA. There's roughly 9 million that the VA takes care of. there's going to be issues. There's going to be ones that fall through the cracks. There are going to be times where they don't get it right, because it's when you run that big of a machine, it's never going to be perfect. And actually, there's going to be a lot of issues. So that's where Code of Vets comes into play. And we are kind of filling in those gaps, Jason, that we're finding throughout the nation. And one of those is the VA vouchers. They don't run consistently. So when a veteran signs up for a voucher, and the reason why I want to share this is because it's just one of these things we're finding that's a real problem in our whole country, not just here and there. But they are put on a list, and that list can last anywhere from 3 months all the way up to 12 months. What if that veteran is living at a bus stop, which we've personally experienced this, and I'm not making this up. What do you do with that vet in the meantime? They don't have anything in the interim to take care of that veteran. There's no measures there. So we, when we stumble across these veterans, we take them under our wing, and we are able to raise funds and house them until they can get that voucher in place. So what we're doing is phenomenal. I'm just blown away by what we're able to accomplish. But it really is teamwork, getting the message out there, letting everybody know, hey, we've got a veteran sleeping at a bus stop, 73 years old, multiple medical issues, a Vietnam veteran. Let's take care of him. Let's get him into an apartment. Let's secure him until that voucher is approved and he has it in hand. And so that's what we do, one veteran at a time, is we take on these cases and we fix what the VA where they're slipping. And it's, there's many areas where they're slipping, and it's just we're trying to fill those gaps in as we can.
That makes sense. And I even before this whole crisis hit, I know that obviously this is one of the biggest problems that we have going in America. Now, I want to dive into obviously the crisis, because regular everyday Americans have been losing their jobs over this entire shutdown, which is a mess. But the veterans are even harder hit. Now, I went through your Twitter feed and I saw things like people were asking you for the fact that they need refrigerators, they need food, they need utilities paid, they need rent paid, gas, electric, etc. What are the things that you're getting in? Because I know you're probably seeing far more than is just posted on there. But what are you seeing? Give people a picture of what is happening to these veterans during this, the ones who even do have homes but are obviously running into problems.
Oh, absolutely. This is absolutely historic this time in our country. We have never witnessed anything like this. 22 million Americans unemployed in a matter of 4 weeks. So you got to think about that. A lot of those Americans are veterans, because there's 20 million of us out there running around. So what we're finding are good, hardworking men and women. These are not our typical cases, Jason. These are hard workers. They've never asked for anything in their lives. We just raised funds for 2 veterans today that served for 24 years, retired honorably, lost their jobs. Now they're in danger of losing their mortgages. They are basket cases because they don't have paychecks. A lot of them live either paycheck to paycheck, or they have about a month's savings. That's been depleted. So now they're coming and they're trying to find whatever they can to secure their homes, to save their homes. And they're running out of food. How are they supposed to pay for food for their family, a roof over their head, water, electricity, Wi-Fi for the kids to be at home homeschooling? It's a nightmare. Without a paycheck, you cannot survive. And that's what many of our veterans are running into. And a lot of them have PTSD, TBI, other emotional or mental issues that they're dealing with in regards to their service. So when you pile this on top of it, it's almost too much for them. We've had veterans that are just sobbing on the phone saying, I don't know what I'm going to do, Gretchen. I can't deal with this. I'm trying to manage my PTSD. I can't handle not having a paycheck on top of all this. And it's sad. Because, my answer is, I'm going to do what I can for you, brother. Your nation loves you. Let us put your story out there. Let us raise these funds for you to alleviate this burden. But again, even though it's alleviating the burden this month, what about next month, Jason? And what about the following month? This is a real crisis it's beyond a crisis. I'm terrified for our veterans because they do not deserve this.
Now, I want to get a before and after because I think it's important. Obviously, this is a crisis. Your stats went through the roof, as in how many you're helping. How many were you helping roughly before this happened? On average, say per month or per week?
Oh gosh, it ranged. We helped a total of roughly around 3,400 vets last year, but that ranged anywhere from something simple as buying a pair of shoes, a prayer request, a wish list, It's if somebody had just moved in an apartment, we fill the apartment for them, all the way up into living in a bus stop or a car or a barn and you're homeless. And those are cases that take the most time and resources. So that's how we've assisted that many veterans across the country last year.
Right.
So this year we were on track, similar numbers.
Yep.
Sometimes we'll get 3 vets in a day. Other times we'll get 21 on the weekend. It all varies. However,
what did that do now? Yeah, what did that do now?
Yeah, now it's insane. Thursday we had 50. I believe it was 53 veterans assisting, asking for assistance
in one day.
Yeah, one day, 53. Then it jumped to 64. And then we're already up to, I believe we're at over 70 today. We're over 70 veterans, and we always get them through the night too. So we'll probably hit 100 tonight. We're starting to see 5 veterans within 5 minutes asking for basic items like food. They don't have running water. Their water's been turned off. They need rent assistance. We had one veteran said, I'm tapping out. I can't do this. I can't pay my bills. Will you buy me a tent? And guess what? We're going to buy that man a tent. He's just going to write it out in the tent because he can't deal with not having a job and sitting in an apartment with no electricity and water. So we're going to raise money for him for a tent. So we are dealing with all kinds of issues that are serious. These are, for me, you don't get any more serious than basic necessities. And that these veterans are living without that at this point. And every day we're watching these numbers increase drastically.
Now, you're probably seeing, and I never want to venture down this road because I know the statistic pretty well. It's about 28 to 35, maybe it's higher, you might know, of how many vets commit suicide per day, the PTSD aspect in. Now, you have a stat on your website that it's about 1 every 70 minutes. Are you also getting people who are literally emotionally appealing to you, the fact that they're struggling right now just emotionally?
Absolutely. We definitely seen an uptick in that. And again, that comes to ebbs and flows. We have veterans reaching out through direct messaging on Twitter, or a lot of them do have my phone number, and they'll text me and they'll just say, sister, I'm having a really bad day. I'm in a really dark place. Or I've got some that'll DM and say, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And then, that's where we step into action. We assess, a lot of times you can talk a veteran through a dark moment. As long as they know that somebody is there for them and they can vent, usually you can walk them through it. But there are times when we've had to have wellness checks done because we know they were dead serious. They were going to do it. So we're seeing an uptick in that. I can't put an exact number on it. I haven't had, time to sit down and, tally it all up. But we've definitely been spending more time on the phone, more time in DMs with veterans who are stressed beyond measure. I can't stress this enough. Our veterans cannot handle this kind of pressure much longer. They have to be able to be given the opportunity to feed their family, to keep their homes, to stay in their apartments, and to have running water. I mean, we're literally dealing with basic stuff here, Jason. They're not asking us to make an RV payment. These are basic everyday needs. And we've got grown men sobbing, saying, I cannot provide for my family, and they don't know how to deal with that. And it's very triggering. And they are also telling, this is another issue, is the county food banks, the local food banks in all of their areas are overwhelmed. They're telling us we can't get food there. They're out. We got to wait till they restock. What are we supposed to do? So this is real, and it's scary, and we've never lived in our country before, and I've never witnessed it. So we are doing everything. We literally are working around the clock. I've got some night owls that are up all night, and I'll take the day shift. But we are constantly working with veterans behind the scenes. That's how flooded we are.
Yeah, and I work with veterans from a healthcare standpoint quite often. I actually just had one in, I saw one yesterday, and what he actually told me too, and you can kind of account for this as well, is that especially the ones with very hardcore PTSD, they don't really have training going into civilian life. So the training is not going over to a job, and that's why one of the reasons why people are having a problem is because they either don't necessarily have a job, or they don't have training for a job, and they need to be taught all these things. This is something that needs to be done, right out of the military, I'm assuming. But you're seeing people, are they also looking for jobs? People want to know how they can help today. And I think one of the biggest things is trying to help people get jobs and things like that. But is that also what you hear, is people are struggling because they just don't know what to do going into civilian life?
Oh yeah, that's something else we try to address, especially as we're growing and kind of getting our footing, as a new organization. We're finding that as veterans are coming out of the military, as they transition from military back to civilian life, a lot of them are having trouble if they don't have a strong support system at home or in their community of doing it on their own. Because when you out process, you really don't get it's not like going through basic, where basic is phenomenal because you are ingrained into the military lifestyle. They prep you for it. They tear you down and they build you up for teamwork. There's no I. It's all about the team. But when they out process you, you're on your own. There's no measures in place to prepare you for that transition. And if you've been in the service 10, 15, 20, even 30 years, it's just mind-boggling. It's incredibly life-changing, and it's terrifying not to have that brotherhood, that camaraderie, that feeling of being secure in the military because you're taken care of with health care, eye care, with your housing, your food. And so you walk out and a lot of our vets aren't ready to take all that on. And so we've assisted some active duty as they've come out and helped them to transition and help them to find jobs. And what we've done is we've taken their resume and just to help, just worded their skill set in order that the civilian employers will be able to read it and be able to understand what they're bringing to the table. And oh my gosh, veterans make great employees. They've got the discipline, the structure, the teamwork, the leadership. We've got it all. It's just we need to write that resume in a manner that the employer will say, oh, this is what he does. And there's a disconnect there. So we're trying to assist in that area too. So there's so many areas that these veterans need help with.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to go into how everyone can help them because people are asking that. But before we do that, I want to let them know exactly how this works because basically, again, your 99% of your funding goes right to the actual veteran. So if someone was to give you money, whether it was $10 or if it was thousands of dollars, does not matter. Explain to them what happens with that money from the moment they click, pay to that veteran, just so they know, because I think people, when they have confidence in the system, they're more likely to give to veterans than anybody, honestly.
Right. So we have a constant inflow and outflow of our donations. And again, we use PayPal as our primary source of doing that. Actually, it's our only source unless we have donors who like to send mail or checks, and I do allow that. Okay. So I try to keep it simple. Everything about Code of Vets is grassroots. It's simple because it never was meant to be. Well, we weren't supposed to be here. It just kind of evolved on its own. So I set up PayPal, and we're keeping it simple. When you send in funds to Code of Vets, as my partner is vetting the veterans that are coming through our system, it's anywhere now, it's between 50 and 100 a day. Oh my gosh. She's pushing the veterans to me that I will put their picture and their story out on Twitter and sometimes on Facebook and Instagram, but generally it's on Twitter. And then I raise the funds, and once those funds come in, then I turn around on PayPal. We always make sure our veteran either sets up the PayPal account or sometimes I already have one, and then I'll take their link and I will send them that money as soon as I have enough to do that. And sometimes it takes me 30 minutes, sometimes it takes 4 hours. And if we're raising $6,000 for a funeral, it may take two or 3 days. But again, it's a simple process. I try to keep it as transparent as possible. When I send the funds to the veteran, I take a snapshot of the PayPal receipt and I post it right on Twitter above their picture and say mission accomplished. And I'll do just a little nice, I'll just say, we've secured this vet family, #Code of Vets, and we'll move on to the next one. So you can see that time after time where your funds are going, and you see that face of the veteran that you helped. And it works. It's effective. We're doing it in record amount of times, and we're able to do dozens of veterans throughout the day.
Beautiful. Let everyone know where they can go to. We'll put the link in here now where they can give so we can help these folks.
CodeOfVets.com is our website. Please, there's a donate link button there. Please click on it. We are overwhelmed with veterans right now. Every dollar that that's coming in is going right back out to those veterans. So we are just asking Americans throughout the country to partner with Code of Vets. Let's let our veterans know they are worthy, that wearing that uniform matters. And that's what we're doing, is we're taking care of our own, and we're letting them know that it's not just about the money. It's not about that financial assistance. It's about giving them hope. It's about letting them know that their nation cares and that we as a veteran community have their back. That brotherhood, I'm trying to recreate that out here in the civilian world because it's powerful. And we feed off of each other and we draw strength from that. So that's what I'm trying to grow here is an informal national network for veterans helping veterans.
Excellent. So just to repeat for everybody, it's code, C-O-D-E, of vets.com. I put the link up there. You can go actually get that and get that handled. Gretchen, I know your time is precious and you're back to work after this. Where can everyone find you so that they can kind of obviously follow this? Because there's going to be people, obviously, they want to donate, but there's also people who are going to follow you and they want to know because we have a lot of veterans out there. I mean, my family, tons of veterans. So where can they find you? Social media, website, all that good stuff.
Please follow us on Twitter. If you do not have a Twitter page, Code of Vets is just worth it alone, at Code of Vets, because we post so many beautiful veterans, and we share their journeys, we share their stories, and it's just so uplifting, and it's so rewarding to see these veterans come to us just broken, whatever the need is, we address it. Sometimes it's complicated, sometimes it's simple, but just to know that you played a small part in their life. And that they're going to remember Code of Vets for the rest of their lives because we were there in their time of need. And that's what's so beautiful about this is we're sharing hope. We're shining our American spirit together. This is not about one person. I cannot do this by myself. I need as many Americans on board as possible to take care of these vets. And we also have a Facebook page and it's Code of Vets as well. Instagram, and we also have a LinkedIn account that's fairly new that we've been posting some resumes for veterans. Not so much now, but we will once we're up and running as a nation again. But we've placed dozens of veterans with jobs and employers. So we just do a little bit of everything. And please find us, follow us, like us, share. Every retweet matters because you never know when that retweet is going to touch a donor's heart. And they decide I'm going to adopt that family. I'm going to adopt that veteran. I'm going to let them know that I care. And that's what it's all about.
And not only are you helping them obviously survive in this world from a monetary standpoint, but you're saving lives, which is massive. Yeah. I don't think enough people understand that what you're doing is not just funding, but you're literally saving lives. And people can do that by giving and everything else. So, Gretchen, right. I thank you for being such an American warrior, patriot. Thank you for your service, all that you've gone through, and I really appreciate all of everything you're doing. So everyone, you need to share this. You need to put it out there. This is how we actually, it shouldn't take us having to get this done because our veterans should be taken care of for what they've done to give us our freedom. But as Americans, we know what they've done, and we will step up and we will handle it ourselves if we have to. So Gretchen, thank you so much. I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you for having me, Jason. It was a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, signing off with Code of Vets, Gretchen Smith. Go take care of her. Go help a vet. Go help us survive, and we're going to make America amazing again, okay? Have a wonderful Saturday night. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Be healthy. And go help a veteran, please. Thank you.